Hi, my name is Sebastian, and in this screencast I'll talk about my Google Summer of Code project, improving RESTful web services, which I have been working on over the last 3 months. RESTful Web Services, or REST-WS, is a module that allows you to expose your Drupal data as RESTful Web Services, like the name obviously says. It makes heavy use of the Entity API module and therefore supports all entity types like nodes, comments, or users out of the box. This also means that data from distributions with heavy entity usage like Drupal Commerce or Recruiter will also be supported. RESTful Web Services is very easy to use. Just install the module and point your browser to the right URL. The URL by default is always the entity name / the entity ID dot the format name. RESTful Web Services respects the HTTP headers, so if your client accepts XML, then it will get XML. Over the summer I fixed some nasty bugs to get the module to a more stable and more REST-confirming version. Besides that, I also added some features, most notably the querying feature. Querying allows you to get a whole bunch of entities by simply pointing your client to the URL / entity name .json or XML, depending on which format you want to use. To have more control about the data REST-WS outputs, I've implemented 2 control mechanisms, the filters and the meta controls. Let's say we have a web shop based on Drupal Commerce, which sells photo cameras and lenses. Now, our awesome site also has a mobile app or some other client, which allows you to retrieve products using REST-WS. Suppose a user wants to see only products of the type cameras. Type is an entity property, and to use it as filter, we simply have to add it with the value camera as get parameter to the URL. This will also work for fields like node tags or, in our case, commerce price. By default, the first column will be used, so if we filter, for example, for commerce price, the column amount will be used. If we want to filter for another column, like the currency code, we need to declare it in square brackets. Meta controls allow you to specify the way your data is outputted. Currently, you can sort, limit, and return only references. Sort allows you to sort your output by property or field, for example, the focal length of our lenses. With the meta control direction, you can tell RESTful Web Services in which direction you would like to sort your output. Limit allows you to only display a certain amount of results per request. You might have noticed the links before the result lists. Those will allow you to navigate through all the result pages. The last meta control is full, which by default is 1. If you set it to 0, your result list will only contain references to the requested resources. Another feature I wanted to implement is OAuth, OAuth is an open protocol that lets you authenticate your client without having to hand out your credentials. Unfortunately, due to the architecture of REST-WS, currently we can't really implement OAuth for RESTful web services. Nevertheless, I've made a patch which at least adds a simple OAuth authentication. It ignores authentication levels and therefore doesn't allow you to limit the access to your resources. If you're interested in this topic, you should check out the issue. So these are some of the new features. In the future, I would like to integrate OAuth properly and to improve the querying feature. But then most importantly, I will update my example Android app. As soon as that is ready, I'll post it to the issue list of REST-WS. So that's it. Thanks for listening.